develop themselves to be like us, which is why we got a heck of a lot we can sell to them if we just put on our entrepreneurial hats and act like confident Americans.
So how do you explain the loss of business in New York going to London? How do you explain some companies complaining about Sarbanes-Oxley and complaining about a litigious society
I explain
in
it based on some of the mistakes that we make. When we overregulate, we overtax. Our corporate tax rate is the second highest in the world. The president of France wants to lower the corporate tax rate. Everybody around the world wants to lower corporate tax rates, but the leading Democratic candidates who want to raise taxes 25 or 30%. That would be a disaster for this country.
Governor Romney, same question.
Is London going to replace New York? Of course not. Should we fix Sarbanes-Oxley and take out Section 404 as it applies to smaller companies? Of course we should. Is this country the hope of the world? Absolutely. And would I support the Republican nominee? Of course. I want that nominee, however, to come out of the same mold as Ronald Reagan. And that's somebody who is strong for our military, strong for our economy, and strong for our family values. And by the way, in terms of supporting these guys, I've come to know these people now over these debates. Is this our sixth debate, I think, something like that? And this is a lot like Law and Order, Senator.
Okay, thank you.
It has a huge cast. The series seems to go on forever, and Fred Thompson shows up at the end.
And to think, I thought I was going to be the best actor on the stage.
Okay, let me ask you, Senator, this is the first presidential debate up near the border. We're only a few minutes from the Canadian border. We're surrounded, in fact, very close to our strongest trading partner. We buy more from Canada than we do from China. We sell them about 4 times as much as we buy from them. They're incredibly friendly with us, although they don't share our foreign policy. Tell me about the Prime Minister of Canada. How would you get along with? Who is the Prime Minister of Canada?
Harper.
Okay, tell me about him.
Prime Minister Harper.
What's your relationship going to be? You always ignore that relationship.
But our relationship is fine.
Yeah. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. My point is, our friends don't get much attention. Do you have any thoughts?
No, well, our friends ought to get plenty of attention. I mean, the challenges that we're going to face internationally, especially in the future, are going to require our working better with our allies and realizing, for example, that in the global war on terror, this is a fight by the forces of civilization against the bad guys. And everybody's got a stake in it, whether they realize it or not. So certainly we ought to work with Canada economically. We get more oil from them, I guess, than anybody. And they have more potential oil to sell than an awful lot of people. So they're important economically, and all of our allies are important for our national security.
Thanks, sir.
Governor Huckabee, how do you fix airline travel in this country, and how do you pay for it?
Well, as president, that'd be one of the first things I'd like to do, since I've spent most of my year on an airline this entire time. First of all, we've got to have the kind of technology on the ground that we have in the cockpit. We've got Jetsons level technology that's running the cockpit. We have the Flintstones technology on the ground that's controlling the airplanes. And it's ridiculous. And the second thing, we've got an incredibly archaic method of the controls where you have incredible traffic coming into key hubs. I don't want to re-regulate the industry, but the industry is going to have to start either getting in the program. And one thing they've got to stop doing is holding the passengers hostage on airplanes for hours and hours without any way of being able to get off those planes. And part of it, I think, is let's make sure that the consumer gets a voice in what happens. And it's out of control.
Thank you,
and
Governor.
it's got to be a priority.
Senator McCain, this is close to your heart. How would you catch bin Laden?
I would establish an organization not unlike the OSS in World War II. People who are smart, people who are tough, people who are used to operating independently, and the smartest and most talented people I know. And I would let them loose, and I'd say, find this guy and do whatever is necessary to get him. By the way, supporting the nominee of the party, of course I would support me. The President of France is a pro-American. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing, and it shows that if you live long enough, anything is possible.
Maria.
Governor Romney, what is the greatest long-term threat to the U.S. economy?
Sense of optimism. America has to be optimistic and recognize that there's nothing we can't overcome. We face extraordinary challenges, absolutely. We face jihadism, the emergence of Asia as a competitor, our overspending, our overuse of oil, the failure of our healthcare system, and yet we can't be burdened down with that. We have to recognize that what we have as Americans is the envy of the world. We have technology, we have innovation, we have great schools, we have great families, we have great homes. What we need to have is leadership that'll tell us the truth, lay out the vision of where we can go, and actually lead. And I want to be able to do that for America.
Very quickly, Senator Brownback.
The breakdown of the family is our biggest long-term problem we have. You've got 36% of the children born out of wedlock in Detroit.
Greatest economic threat.
Yes, on a long-term basis. Because if you don't start children, and you can raise a good child in a single-parent family. You can do that. But we do know by the broad numbers that the best place is between a mom and a dad. And in our inner cities, you're looking at 65-70% of the children born out of wedlock. Your best way to solve your education, your crime rate problems, your drug problems, is to get more children in that stable environment. It's a tough issue. This is a tough issue. But long term, I think that's our biggest problem.
Mayor Giuliani, would it be good for the country, for the voters of the country, to have a third-party option?